Hello, my name's Valerie Parente. I am a writer and an artist, and I like to do some poetry readings of some past works that I have and just do some analysis of it and discuss the background, what I was going through at the time when it was written, all that stuff. It's just kind of fun for me, and I hope you enjoy it too. All right, let's look at, but I'm looking at Rather Be Haunted, by the way. This was published in 2020. Self-Inflicted. This was November 17th of 2019. Self-inflicted. For once, I just wish I could hurt someone else's feelings without feeling any remorse. Because I apologize in vain and I internalize the pain, and I don't want to feel anymore for the people who don't feel my hurt. So it's short and sweet, and self-inflicted is, it's interesting because it's called self-inflicted while it's talking about other people putting me in pain. So for once, I just wish I could hurt someone else's feelings without feeling any remorse. I apologize in vain, and I internalize the pain, and I don't want to feel anymore for the people who don't feel my hurt. So this is called self-inflicted because I believe in life that, yes, people can hurt you, but they can only hurt you as much as you allow them to hurt you. So for me, a lot of my motto every day is I allow myself to be upset if I feel upset, because you're right to feel whatever you feel. But by midnight, by the next day, I'm not allowed to feel upset about something from the previous day. So I think you have a lot of control over what you allow to hurt you and what you don't. So that's why I say when someone does hurt you that it is self-inflicted, because you, at the end of the day, have the power to choose. Are you going to let this get to me? Or are you going to brush it off, rise above, be resilient, learn how to be stronger? And it's just another take on personal responsibility, which I think is really frustrating in my generation, because I think victimization has been glamorized way too much, and being wronged, and it's been romanticized that someone will come and save you when you're wronged, especially as a female. I don't think that's a good way to look at life at all. And I think that's a very immature teenage way to look at life. I think almost every female teenager looks at life that way, where they do feel like somebody is going to come and save them, and they do identify with someone was mean to me, someone bullied me, blah, blah, blah. I'm so poor me, that victimization. Is my lipstick okay? It's fine. It's not a healthy way to look at life, and it's a very immature way to look at life, and it's something that you need to grow out of. But I don't think our society, at least in American culture, motivates you to want to grow out of it because of how it romanticizes it, and because of how they tell you you're going to be saved one day. No one can save you but yourself. This self-inflicted pain, this feeling of pain that I have because somebody did me wrong, I'm allowing it to hurt me. You have to rise above. It's hard, it's not fun, but it's worth it, and it'll make the next time somebody does you wrong a hell of a lot easier to deal with. I closed the page. I was gonna say something else about self-inflicted. There it is. And then this whole, for once, I just wish I could hurt someone else's feelings without feeling any remorse. And for me, if someone is a jerk to me, I still have a hard time being mean to them, and I wish I could be. In some cases, it would be a lot easier. It'd be a short and sweet way to get over the pain, just to be a jerk to them back. And I feel really bad doing that, even if somebody messed with me pretty bad. And I'm not saying that I don't think it's any sign of nobility. I don't think I'm being noble by not hurting someone who has hurt me. I don't think that's what it is at all. I think it's, if anything, a form of cowardice and of fear of the confrontation and wanting to be liked even by somebody who hurts you. So when I don't hurt someone, when I want to hurt someone and feel no remorse, I genuinely feel like that would be the more mature thing to do than being someone who is too afraid to ruffle any feathers, even after somebody does you wrong. I'm thinking of a specific incident right now. And people ask me when I tell this story, they're like, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, I felt bad calling the person out. But even though they physically hurt me, I had someone, should I say this? Yeah, why not? Who cares? I had someone literally with a bug zapper electrocute me in front of a group of people and then make fun of me for being so stupid for touching it because I didn't know what it was. And I will never forget that because that was one of the meanest things that someone's ever done to me. It was so freaking rude and embarrassing, and they mocked me like 10 minutes after it happened, and they're like, how's your hand? Such a douchebag. I hate this kid. And when I tell people that story, they're like, did you tell him to fuck off when he did that to you? And I'm like, no, because I felt bad making him feel bad. It was in front of a bunch of people that I knew were important to him. And even though I hate the kid, I felt like I would feel remorse if I actually was a jerk back. And I really didn't want the confrontation. I didn't want, even after they freaking electrocuted me, I still didn't want them to hate me. So that is, when was this written, actually? I don't think I was thinking of that particular situation when I wrote it. It wasn't so literal about being hurt. That's a specific, very literal story of someone like physically hurting me because they're just psycho. I apologize in vain and I internalize the pain. I don't want to feel anymore for the people who don't feel my hurt. It's just hard when you care about people who don't care about you. And this is a separate situation, not the person who electrocuted me, because I didn't care about them. But it's just hard when you care about somebody and you're hurting for somebody who really doesn't give a fuck about you and doesn't for one moment flinch at the thought of you being in pain. And that's okay. That's, nobody owes you anything. That's fine. But this all comes down to self-infliction because you have to allow these things to hurt you. If you want to care about someone who you know deep down doesn't care about you, that's on you. It is. It sucks. It really does suck. But it's part of growing up. That's just a lesson you have to learn. So that was that one. What else could we read? I would like to read One Dimension, which is in the beginning of this book. Because I was thinking about this the other day. This was written in 2018, and it was about a person that I don't any longer feel these feelings. The pain isn't there anymore, but it was eerily relevant for my life today about a totally different situation, and that's why I was thinking about this. There it is, One Dimension, written in September 4th of 2018. One Dimension. Somebody died today. It felt like it was me, but it looked like it was you. When I told you how I felt, every word just bounced off you. What meant years to me meant nothing to you. And how sad it is to be forgotten too. They say smile because it happened, but how can I smile when you have no memory of me? You're a one-dimension mind who can't look back at our time, and I had you right in front of me, but there was a disconnect in your eyes. The boy I knew had died without ever saying goodbye, and in 1 second, the weight of 3.5 years came down and buried me 10 feet in the ground. You lost me, and you lost what gave you meaning, but somehow I'm the one who's grieving. I hope you find your peace, and for the first time I realize you won't find it with me. So, this is a very, very painful poem. It is, sorry, no, I'm touching my face. I'm with the back of my hand. This is how I do it with OCD, because I don't want to use the tips of my fingers that have touched things. My hair is just in the way. But this is what it feels like when a relationship, I'm not saying romantic, just a relationship in general, friendship, whatever, that connection that was once there and very strong, literally just dies. And it feels like death. It feels like death to look in someone's eyes and see that they really don't feel anything, any remorse or any pain, or they don't feel bad that you're sad. They don't even look like they recognize you. It's this disconnect in their eyes that I said. and the person you knew, it feels like they died. And you really do go through what feels like the 7 stages of grief with losing a friendship and any relationship in general. And that's where in the beginning it says somebody died today. It felt like it was me, but it looked like it was you. Yeah, that feeling of just pure death when you lose someone, and I don't mean literally that they have passed, but I mean the connection that you had, that feeling is pure death, and it's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling that I wouldn't wish upon anyone. And to talk to someone, when I told you how I felt, every word bounced off you. What meant years to me meant nothing to you, and how sad it is to be forgotten too. That's the real pain. It's the lack of, and it wasn't always that way, but it's in the moment that this was written, the lack of mutual feelings, it's the lack of the other person caring, which again, they're entitled. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody has to care about you. But when you know that did exist, and then you don't have an explanation for why it doesn't exist anymore, and you can visibly see just no one's home when it comes to that conversation, and you're telling someone how much you care and feel, and you can see it bounce off them. You can see they're like inanimate. Nothing is absorbed. And that's where the title One Dimension comes from, because there's no deeper meaning. There's no deeper feeling in this. This person is a one-dimension mind who can't look back at your time. They physically don't get it. They just don't get it. Whether they're going through a struggle in their life, which was what this was written about. This person had a major issue going on, and they just didn't have it in them to see what I was seeing. They didn't have that luxury. They had real problems. So from this one dimension idea is that there is no deeper dimension to this person anymore. They are just surface level, dead. You know, it's one of the worst things I've ever felt. At the time when this was written, it was the worst thing I ever felt. And then recently I felt much worse over a different situation. But at the time this was written, I felt like I was dying. And I felt like this person completely lost me. And it was just weird because they lost me. They were the one who had the loss, but I was the one who was grieving. Like it says, you lost me and you lost what gave you meaning, but somehow I'm the one who's grieving. And that's a heavy burden to bear, to be the only one who remembers good times. That goes back to this line. They say smile because it happened, but how can I smile when you have no memory of me? That's the worst thing ever. Because the one silver lining when you lose someone is, okay, well, the memories will live on. The good times will always live on in your heart. You'll remember. But when it is one-sided and I'm the only one to remember the good times and you have no memory of it, it just isn't registering anymore. It's completely gone. It's like it never existed for you. That's a really heavy burden for me to have to bear. To be the one to remember all these things and you don't remember anything. That's heavy and that's really painful. And that's probably the worst part of it all. If someone says smile because it happened, but I can't smile because it's like it's gone. I'm the only one who remembers. That's heavy. I don't want to be the only one to remember. That's like the worst case scenario. So One Dimension is in the beginning of the book, and it's very painful. I hope you find your peace, and for the first time I realize you won't find it with me. At the end of the day, if someone doesn't want you to be that person in their life, then that's their right. And if someone has problems and troubles and you've cared for so long and tried to help, if they don't want you to be that person, the day that they do find peace is a day that you will not be there. And that's really sad. when you care about someone. That's really, really sad. But it's part of life. I think it's a growing experience. It's part of life. I think everybody goes through this. Something that I do have a hard time with is thinking that my situations are very unique. And I think that's I think that's a very adolescent mindset to have. This uniqueness, nobody understands you. Nobody has gone through the pain you've gone through. It's a very teenager. And I have to remind myself that that is not true. Everyone goes through heartbreak. Everyone loses someone. Everyone's been rejected, no matter how hard they tried. It's just part of life. And I hope that you can find solace too when you read this, because I wrote this from my very, 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 very personal experiences, but I hope some of these lines resonate with you and can heal you a little bit. That actually reminds me of a poem. It's a very short poem, but the line kept going through my head yesterday because I had a pretty bad day and I was upset. I made a whole video, but I didn't post it because I was I had to check myself. I was like, I can't post this. I'm a miserable bitch in this video. This is not gonna help anyone. This is just gonna be worse for the world if I upload this. But in my negativity and feeling bad, I thought of this line over and over. Let me just find it. Very short poem. I think it's towards the end. But I tell myself this to help myself heal and remind myself that it's going to be okay, and you've gotten through pain before, you'll get through it again. Sorry it's taking me a moment. This is the draft of Rather Be Haunted too. All the content is the same, it's just formatted weird. Oh my god, there's so many in here that I want to read. Sorry, guys. Dead air, dead air. Oh my god, I'm really having a hard time finding this. And maybe it wasn't towards the end. I should know that. Well, there was a line that was going through my head that I kept thinking, oh, here it is. It wasn't towards the end, I'm sorry. This was written on May 5th of 2019. It's called Value, very short. Value. I know my value and I see it every day. I need to stop punishing myself when it isn't seen by someone else. And that's something a lot of people do to themselves, where when they have their eyes set on one particular person, and if the person you want doesn't want you, you have to check yourself and tell yourself, well, that shouldn't affect how I see my own value. Just because somebody else can't see my value does not mean that I should devalue myself. That's on them. That's not on me. So I know my value and I see it every day. I need to stop punishing myself when it isn't seen by someone else. Sometimes you got to keep reminding yourself that you are your own person, and at the end of the day, you're going to be alone in yourself. Nobody can save you but yourself. I guess that's really the theme of a lot of these poems that I'm reading today. And just because one particular person out of the millions and millions of people on the planet doesn't see all of the beautiful parts of you, they just can't see it. They just don't. You're just not for them. That is not a commentary on who you really are. Who you really are is the realest thing I can say, or the realest truth about who you really are is really what you think of yourself. And I think that's where a lot of frustration comes from. The frustration of people doing you wrong in life, I think it comes from you knowing that you have value and that dissonance, that person who's contradicting that by hurting you or not seeing it, that's just proof that you value yourself, and you're getting frustrated because it's not connecting with other people. People aren't seeing it. So that's a good way to look at it, I think. And like I said, don't punish yourself. Don't look down on yourself because somebody else doesn't see it. That's just how it is. Not everybody's gonna like you in life. You know? You're not everybody's cup of tea. Right? Okay, I think I'll leave it at that, because this is 20 minutes. And I think those 3 poems actually all kind of connected in a good way. So I'm glad I did that all in one video. And thank you for listening. And if you do want to purchase Rather Be Haunted or any of my other works, you can buy it on Amazon. And you can buy paperback or Kindle. All right, so if you do want to look up Rather Be Haunted with my name, Valerie Parente. I don't think it comes up when you just do the title. Not yet, at least. Let's see how popular it gets, and then maybe it'll just come up off the title. All right, thank you so much. Bye.